What's up, guys? Dan Canobio alongside Chris Algieri, and today we're at legendary Church Street Gym. We're talking about a big fight in the lightweight division. Gervonta Davis is back, and he's taking on Frank Martin. Today, we're going to hop in that ring and tell you everything about this fight. Anytime Tank gets back into the ring, we're talking about a ferocious puncher. We're talking about a finisher. We're talking about one of the most exciting fighters in boxing.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about him on our show all the time. I mean, he's a super fun guy to watch fight. He's also super technical. Definitely underrated boxing skills. Man, that game-changing power. What else are you gonna talk about? It's like this fight. We got the Ghost versus the atom bomb, basically. Because with Tank, you're just waiting to detonate. You don't know when it's gonna come, but it's gonna come.
Yeah, let's talk about Frank Martin a little bit. He's taking on this challenge. It's a big challenge for Frank Martin. He's a southpaw. He's very physical. He's very technical. I expect him to push Tank. It's gonna be a good fight. Top 10 lightweight, Frank Martin.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge step up for Frank. He hasn't been in this level, anywhere near this level. But he's a guy. I mean, he's an endurance guy. He pushes a pace. He's very, very technical. He's got good balance. He's fundamentally sound. He's also a southpaw. We haven't seen Tank with a lot of southpaws, especially at high level, and especially recently. Last time was a Jesus Cuellar, which was a long time ago, and he was a little bit past his prime anyway. So there are some caveats to. I could see where Frank can be successful, but we're gonna break that down in the ring.
All right, let's get into the ring and break this fight down. All right, Chris, let's talk about the man, Gervonta Davis, game-changing power. But I always say he walks a tightrope. He doesn't throw a lot of punches, but he always lands that shot. How does he land that shot? How does he get in position? What makes him so great?
You know what impresses me about him was his confidence, that he knows once he gets there, he's gonna get the job done. Which you said, he walks that tightrope. He has very underrated boxing skills and boxing IQ. He sets that power up. He knows he can deliver once he gets there, but it's the way he sets it up that's so impressive.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So how does he set up those power shots? Because, I mean, this guy has almost got a 100% knockout rate, but he's always getting to that point. You just see the knockout, but how does he get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, early on, he's collecting data. A lot of times people just think, oh, he's just coming forward, he's getting hit with shots on the gloves, but he actually blocks a lot of those punches. Doesn't take a lot of damage as he comes in. Is able to see when his opponents are off balance. If you notice, he goes underneath shots a lot. He sees where those openings are, and he gets himself into position. This is a big fight about positioning. And with Tank Davis, he wants to get his feet underneath him so he can deliver that power, just like his nickname says, he's a tank.
When you talk about Tank Davis, you talk about knockouts. I feel like he doesn't get a lot of credit for his boxing IQ. But in order to knock guys out, you got to be in position. His footwork is so critical.
Yeah, with Tank Davis, it's all about positioning. It's about getting his feet underneath him into the position to deliver that power. So oftentimes with his movement, usually from the outside, he fights out of that hand-down defense, that lead hand. He'll lead with that rear hand when he's fighting an orthodox guy. He'll throw that left-hand shot down the middle, and then he rolls out. And he does that to the open side of his opponent, meaning he still has access for his offense. So he'll pop that left hand, he'll go underneath, and then he's still there to rip body shots and keep going. When he goes to the opposite side, this is more positioning and defensive, or maybe he's just taking a breather, because he is a puncher. So when he's moving out to his right side, so you stay in that position here, he'll step out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's here, he'll step out and then cut. And he goes back to that, creating an angle. One, he's invisible. He's staying outside that weak side, but also he's once again in position to punch.
Another thing about Tank Davis, ferocious counterpuncher, arguably the best counterpuncher in the game right now. A lot of his knockouts come from the guys coming forward, getting exposed, and then him landing it. Take us through it.
Yeah, I mean, he does something I call slip and rip. He'll make you miss, and he comes right back, and he delivers power with that too. Very, very ferocious, very explosive. So a lot of times, he likes that. He's a shorter guy. He likes to go underneath shots, sure. We saw him against the Ryan Garcia when he went under the hook and then came back with his own. But a lot of times he likes to slip, roll, slide, and then come back, especially with that rear hand. So if guys will lead with, say, that jab perhaps, as he does that, he'll dip that shoulder and then come right back with that uppercut. He does it off both sides. We saw that against Santa Cruz.
Oh,
he slipped this side, bang!
Well, Leo Santa Cruz threw the same punch three times in a row.
3 times in a row, and he slipped out and bang, caught him up top. So that slip and rip makes Tank very, very dangerous. Not only does he have the positioning where his feet are where it needs to be, but he's able to make you miss and make you pay.
All right, let's talk about Tank's opponent, Frank Martin, a guy that got a late start into boxing, has earned this shot. Southpaw, tough, durable. Frank's going up against a Tank. What's he going to do? What does he do that's so great, Frank Martin?
With Frank Martin, it's fundamentals. Great hand position, good foot position, gets himself, he does everything by the book. Like it's textbook, where his hands are, how he throws his punches. He doesn't load up, very, very short punches on the inside. And that's really the game plan against Tank anyway. That's what you want to do with Tank. You don't want to load up too much. You don't want to go punch for punch with him because he just hits too hard. You want to outwork him, but also be safe with it. So Frank has a very good...
You want me southpaw?
Yeah, be southpaw because you're Tank. Frank, a lot of times, is very good at getting his feet into position. He's behind his double jab. So he'll stutter with that double jab to deliver that left hand. So he'll come in with that jab. And again, he's getting his feet in position. He has excellent balance from there, and that's why he's able to rip combinations the way he does. Tank is more of a one-punch guy. Frank's more of a combination guy. So there's an interesting clash of styles between the two. So for Frank, he's got to be busy with that lead hand to make sure that he's getting himself in position to deliver the rest of those punches without having anything come back his way from the power puncher of Tank.
Do you think he'll throw punches, though? We've seen this with Tank Davis. You see this all the time with counter punchers, guys with power, is they don't throw combinations. They get a little gun shy because they know that there's some heat coming back.
If he wants to win the fight, he's going to have to throw punches. If he goes tit for tat with Tank, he's going to lose. The power differential is too much. The physical gifts are too much. Differential is too much. So if Frank wants to be competitive in this fight, if he wants a chance to win, he's going to have to let those hands go.
All right, Chris, they call him the Ghost, Frank Martin. Why is that? Is it because of his defense? Is it because he ghosts girls online? Why do they call him the Ghost?
Leaves him on red. Both these guys are aptly named with their nicknames. Tank obviously is a tank. He delivers that power. And Frank is called the Ghost because he likes to hit and don't be hit. He becomes invisible after he throws his combinations. And to fight a guy like Tank Davis, that's what you need to do. You need to be busy, but you also can't take damage on the way out. So Frank, I mentioned before, he's got that really good double stutter step where he puts himself into position to rip those shots, but also on the way out, he's very good at staying low, changing levels, moving his head and sliding out, creating more angles and moving around. So for him to be successful, he's going to need to get himself into position to where he can actually deliver the combinations, but at the same time, get out invisibly like a ghost.
It's time to talk game plan here. We kind of know what Gervonta Davis is at this point. I talked about how he likes to walk that tightrope. It's a guy that throws like 30 punches around, but early on in the fights, we're talking single digits. When he fought Ryan Garcia, the first power shot he landed didn't come into the second round, but it dropped Ryan Garcia. So we kind of know what Gervonta's going to do in there. Would you be shocked if he came out and fought any differently? How do you think he should fight Frank Martin?
I actually think this fight is going to be different because it's a southpaw-southpaw matchup. I think Tank is going to be busy with the lead hand. I don't think he's going to throw a lot of power shots early on. I think it's going to be a battle of the jabs early on. Jabs and foot positioning. Both guys are very good at positioning their feet. Both guys have pretty decent jabs, but I think against each other specifically, because they're both southpaws, I think we're going to see a battle of jabs early on. And I think whoever can dominate that position can really set themselves up for the next couple rounds.
Yeah, so it's going to be a battle of jabs early on. Gervonta Davis has a very good jab. He doesn't get a lot of credit for that. Over to Frank Martin. He's taking on the hardest test of his career. I mean, he's got to figure out this puzzle piece, this Gervonta Davis, that no one's been able to do. Southpaw himself.
Yes.
Gervonta hasn't fought a southpaw since 2018. Is that going to be an advantage? Or how do you think Frank Martin, what do you think Frank Martin's game plan will be?
Well, I haven't seen Frank Martin in with any high-level southpaw, so I'm curious to see how he manages that. I mean, he's a big amateur background. He's in the gym with guys like Errol Spence, so I don't think southpaw is really going to be an issue. The issue is
Speaking of southpaws,
is Tank Davis, you know. So with Frank, a lot of times I talk about his positioning and his ability to stay invisible like a ghost. So for him, it's going to be staying outside that lead foot, or staying on that weak side of Tank Davis. So using that jab, being busy with that, and moving out to that left side, just a little touch. And keeping outside that away from that left hand of Tank Davis, I think is going to be important for him. So staying longer, he is the longer guy, throwing those shots, and then when he's ready, get into position, but have an outside position where he's not head-to-head with Tank. You don't want to be in 50-50 exchanges with Tank Davis because he's such a good counterpuncher.
All right, so battle of jabs in this fight. When's it going to heat up? When's it going to heat up? Who's going to make the first adjustment? Probably Tank, right?
I think it's going to be Tank, and I think it's going to come from down here.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to focus on the body early on. I think they're going to get in a bit of a jab war, and Tank he's willing to lose certain positions because he knows his power can get him out of trouble. But once he starts going down to the body, he becomes a really dangerous guy. Something that Frank does pretty well with a lot of guys is he'll actually dip out and lay out onto that side for punches to go over his shoulder. So a lot of times he's fighting orthodox guys, and they're throwing those right hands, and they're going over the shoulder here. So he dips out to that side. It kind of takes his head offline. So even for a southpaw, it's going to be tough for Tank to land those shots. So, but for him, I think he has opportunities for the body shots here. And Tank is such a good body puncher once he has guys on the defensive. So even if Tank comes in with a couple jabs, boom, 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 and then he's able to rip those body shots because that lead side is in front now, southpaw for southpaw, that can start to break Frank down.
I really like this fight. It's two top 10 lightweights, arguably the best lightweight in the world right now. Tough opponent in Frank Martin.
Very tough.
So what you're saying is we're going to see a technical battle, jab, jab, jab early on. Someone's going to make an adjustment, probably Tank Davis. Are you saying another stoppage for Gervonta Davis in this fight?
That's a good question. All signs point to yes, because it is Tank Davis and he has such a high knockout percentage. But Frank Martin is a really disciplined, durable, and conditioned guy. I think conditioning is a big part of what he brings to the table. Throws a lot of combination punching. He's very physically strong. You see the way he's built. He's definitely in great shape. I could see this going the distance, but if I had to put money down, I'm going Tank by late stoppage.
Can't go wrong with putting money on Tank Davis. Thank you to Church Street Gym for giving us this ring to give you some phenomenal content. Check out the fight on ppv.com.